So last week there was a big stink when Trump was talking about disinfecting people with light that somehow got translated into Lysol. You know, light, Lysol, oh, that's pretty close. It's all the same thing, right? Well, anyways, it turns out that there actually is a company developing a method to inject light into people's lungs in order to cure viruses. Let's take a look. So, what was the media reaction to this interesting bit of technology that contradicts their Lysol hysteria? Well, YouTube banned the video, for one. I don't know about light in the lungs, but hydroxychloroquine continues to be used with success. 90% success, according to Arizona doctors in a letter to their state governor. And 98% success rate at one Texas nursing home. And over in Italy, they studied 65,000 patients who were already using hydroxychloroquine for other ailments, and those patients had a 90% reduced chance of getting COVID-19. So, what does CDC head honcho Anthony Fauci have to say about all this good news requiring the effectiveness of a cheap, readily available treatment? Oh, you know, no comment. He doesn't care. Fauci's excited about a 31% improvement showed by a yet-to-be mass-produced, still experimental and expensive drug made by his friends. Well, just remember, the people selling panic are the same ones selling the solution. So I was informed by a large brain on the internet that New Zealand has stamped out the virus because they have a leader with a conscious mind. According to the equally large brains over at the Huffington Post, New Zealand's Prime Minister told people to be kind, and that made all the difference. Well, you know, dipshits, could it be that New Zealand is an island in the middle of an ocean with a widely dispersed population already practicing social distancing, whose biggest city is about the size of Kansas City? And who has low levels of transit and visitors from China and elsewhere? Could any of that have just a wee bit to do with New Zealand's infection rates? Nah, it's got to be the kindness. So last week, New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio got mocked as a mini-Nazi for setting up his snitch program. So this week he set out to improve his image by oppressing the Jews. Yep. De Blasio had a Twitter snit over a Jewish wedding. You know, somehow I don't think this is going to be help his image that much. But not to worry. De Blasio's got other bright ideas. Yep, he's going to hand out free meals at Muslim buffets at 32 sites across the city. Oh yeah, Jewish weddings bad? Muslim buffets? A-okay, great idea. Let's import Middle East tensions to the East Side. Thank you, Mayor Moron. Michigan Governor Heinrich Whitmer says that liquor stores, lottery tickets, and abortions are all essential, all while forcing millions of people to stay home without a job or ability to feed their families. Nah, that stuff's optional. Whitmer says that the scumps don't really understand. But according to this home decorator in Michigan, I'd say they're getting it. Let's see, this house is a fucking prison on planet bullshit in the galaxy of this sucks camel dicks. Yeah, sounds about right to me. So over in Illinois, Governor Spitzer declared himself a historic hero, and even more. Let's have a listen.
The stay-at-home order has prevented tens of thousands of illnesses and thousands of deaths. History will remember those who put politics aside to come together to keep people safe.
Wow, Spitzer prevented thousands of deaths with his stay-at-home order. How does he know? Where did the couple thousand that die, where did they get infected? At home? And history will remember those who put politics aside? How is using the political power to force people to stay at home putting politics aside? Well, It should really be no surprise that Spitzer, like all those who believe in the lockdowns, will only and forever believe that they've been heroes. Seriously, under what conditions will any politician say, "Oops, I made a mistake. My decision did more harm than good. I'm sorry. I learned and it won't happen again"? It's not going to happen. No way. Even if every person in their state besides 3 or 4 were to die from starvation, the politician would give a speech to those 3 or 4 and telling them how he saved them. Spitzer's hypocrisy was also on display when reporters found out that, despite his no-travel order, he sent his own wife and kids down to Florida. Now, Spitzer's got pissed off at this inappropriate interference in his private life, says the guy who's interfering in 10 million people's private lives. But maybe he's not really sending his wife on vacation. Maybe he's trying to kill her by getting infected and roaming around. Now, there's no good reason to kill a woman, but I understand. So Elon Musk, the Silicon Valley whiz kid, is no fan of the lockdown, saying it's time to give people their freedom back. But I was more amused by the comments of the peanut gallery down here, who accuses Musk of having decabazillions and wondering if he will step up and provide that protection and care for his employees. Well, Mr. Commentator, I'm pretty sure Musk has already stepped up to provide more than generous salaries to those employees. And with those salaries, they can acquire whatever protection they deem fit. That's presuming they still have a job, which they don't at the moment. These people are not children. They're not Elon Musk's slaves, and they're certainly not helpless. They're adults who should act accordingly. Something you might want to give a try sometime. And police are having a good time in the People's Fascist State of California, writing out $1,000 citations for people watching the sunset in their cars. Yes, it's all for your protection, citizen. We really don't want to take $1,000 from you, but it's for your own good. Gee, thanks, officer. And further down the beach, Governor Gavin Newsom says no one's allowed to go to the beach in Orange County. But Orange County protesters say, fuck you. And it appears that the Orange County sheriff won't enforce the order. So it looks like fuck you's in the lead. And the California large brains continue to amaze by releasing criminals from prison in order to combat the coronavirus. Like this guy, a sex offender who, surprise, surprise, was arrested 2 weeks later for, you guessed it, sexual assault. Who could have ever guessed? Not Governor Gavin Newsom, apparently. Gee, it's too bad Charlie Manson wasn't still alive. Then we could really have some fun. And one of my personal California gurus piped in with some wisdom to demonstrate how wonderful that state's education system really is. He starts off confessing that he slept through statistics class, and then goes on to prove it by saying that he's realized that stats never lie. Like the stat that my dog barks at airplanes, and it's 100% effective because airplanes never land in my yard. And then he goes on, bemoaning the fact that average IQs hover around 100, when if he'd been paying attention in statistics, he'd already know that IQ test results are normalized to 100, so they'll always be pegged to that number. And it goes on, but he concludes with a final question. How many of us are ignorant versus just how many of us are really stupid? I do really wonder about this, but after seeing some of the comments on this wasteland, it becomes apparent. I know what you mean, man. I know what you mean. Speaking of statistics, here are the stats for COVID death rates from various countries around the world. 99.983 survival rate in the US, and everything hovering right around the same place in the world, whether they had lockdowns or not. Now, are these the stats that my stoner friend in California or Governor Gavin Newsom is consulting? I doubt it. Apparently, a bunch of essential workers want to strike for more compensation for being forced to put their health at risk during this crisis. Now, here's something where we really could use some statistics. Here's my question. Do essential workers become infected and or ill and or dead from coronavirus than those who are forced to stay at home? I don't know the answer. And as far as I know, no one in a position of responsibility is even asking the question. And that right there is sort of an answer in itself. My guess is no or not much. Oh, goody goody. Vegan Man is here to berate me whether I'm okay with the death of meat plant employees who die from COVID-19. Well, Vegan Man, if there are any such fatalities, then no, I'm not okay with it. But if you could take a few minutes off from trying to convince people that tofu is delicious and provide some actual evidence that there are any such casualties, then we can talk. Now, excuse me, I have to go back to my bacon ham ostrich buffalo burger. And here's Johnny California Progressive whining about the bailouts. Well, I gotta tell you, man, I agree that these bailouts are stupid. But dear Mr. Johnny California Progressive, your demand for lockdowns and putting people out of work is what's creating the need for the bailouts. You are the cause of your own disaster. And this idea you have here that there will be no money left just highlights your total ignorance. What do you think? There's a big pile of money down at the Treasury that Trump stuffs into bags and then mails out? No. There is an infinite amount of money. The government could print up billion-dollar checks and send them out tomorrow. They tried it in Zimbabwe. Money is not the problem. Money is just a tool for acquiring goods and services. Producing goods and services gives money its value. Producing goods and services is the solution. People getting back to work is the solution. And the lockdowns. And here's another Facebook scientist congratulating President fucking J moron for 1 million coronavirus infections. Well, that's really interesting. I didn't know that presidents were responsible for the number of virus infections. Is that how it works? Well, okay, if you insist. I mean, you're the Facebook scientist, so let's jump back to 2009 with the swine flu outbreak, when apparently there were 60 million infected cases. And who was president back then? Gee, I can't remember. And of course, Joe Biden is in the news, sort of, even though he's still hiding in his basement trying to avoid saying anything stupid. In the meantime, he's been accused of sexual assault, which prompted the New York Times to call on the Democratic Party to investigate. That's weird. Isn't it the job of a newspaper, to investigate stories? You know, like the time when Trump was accused of Russian collusion and the New York Times demanded that the Republican Party investigate? I don't think that's the way it works. But Biden has nothing to worry about because Democratic congressman and amateur gynecologist Richard Nen Comey jumped to his defense, claiming that you cannot grab a girl's vagina without cooperation. Therefore, Biden is innocent. Case closed. The science is settled, people. Well, on the bright side, it looks like Joe Biden might actually be the most honest politician of all time when he suggested that America needs more economic intercourse. Yep, that's the problem. As if you're not getting screwed enough already. Well, that's it for this week in Stupid, or last week in Stupid, or whatever the hell it is. Like, comment, share, give me a thumbs up, do something. Gotta do something, there's nothing else to do, right? Anyways, enjoy, peace out, see you next time.